Hello and welcome to today's edition of the Get German Football News Transfer Roundup. This is the first in hopefully a series of shows to come where we basically take the biggest stories from around the Bundesliga and the second Bundesliga too, and we give you the lowdown on the latest rumours, the latest completed transfers in and out of Germany. And today we're just going to start off with a bit of a sort of retrospective look back on some of the deals that have already been completed so far. We're now nearly 2 weeks into the transfer window, and in Germany it's been a fairly busy period so far because, of course, the big high-profile signing so far of this winter transfer window has been Erling Braut Haaland signing for Borussia Dortmund for a fee in the region of 90 million euros. That certainly grabbed plenty of headlines with the likes of Manchester United, Juventus, pretty much every big club in Europe attempting to sign the Norwegian prospect. But elsewhere, there have been some other big deals too. Julian Weigl left Dortmund after years of speculation that his time may be up at Westfalenstadion. He went to Benfica for 17 million euros. We also saw Ezequiel Palacios coming to Bayer Leverkusen, who could make a difference, maybe help their push into Europe too. So it's been a very eventful, very impactful winter transfer window so far, should I say. And it looks like there's plenty more to come as well. Before we just get into the rumours, just a bit of a lowdown on what's been developing and what's been completed over the last couple of days in terms of Bundesliga transfers. We've seen basically a flurry of fairly high-profile loans, players coming in from England, from all over Europe. It's been an interesting time. So in terms of the recent deals that have transpired in the last 24 hours or so, we saw Liverpool's Nathaniel Phillips. He's now gone to Stuttgart for a loan for the rest of the season. We saw him, of course, play against Everton a couple of weeks back in the FA Cup. Had a good performance, looked pretty solid. He'll now leave Anfield for at least 6 months to compete for Stuttgart. Elsewhere, we've also seen Kevin Vogt leave Hoffenheim, the, of course, long-standing defender. He's now gone on loan as well. He's now gone to Werder Bremen on loan, which should be an interesting move in his attempt to get more first-team football. Also, a story developing as well, and a completed loan deal. Konstantinos Mavropanos, the Arsenal defender, again, another defender who's found game time a bit hard to come by its parent club. So he has gone on loan to Nuremberg, which should be an interesting one as well in his attempt to get more first-team action. So now on to some of the transfer rumours. In the show, we're basically going to break down, completed deals, but also we're going to give you a lowdown on some of the developing rumours, some of the, whispered about deals that could transpire over the next 2.5 weeks or so. As you can imagine, plenty of long-standing, transfer sagas listed in here. We're going to start off with Lukas Klostermann, the Leipzig wing-back. He has been linked with quite a few clubs so far in January, but of course, most notably, Borussia Dortmund. Bayern are reportedly interested too. Bild have claimed that they have a reasonable degree of interest in the player. But the most likely outcome, if Klostermann was to leave in this window, would appear to be Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund, of course, face the prospect of losing their star fullback, Hakimi, potentially to go back to Real Madrid. He's been quoted in recent days as saying that he's not really sure. He's torn between going back to Real or staying in Dortmund beyond the summer when his 2-year loan deal does expire. That'll be an interesting one. And so one of the theories has been amongst the German press, particularly with Sportsbild, claiming that the German fullback Lukas Klostermann could potentially be a decent replacement, a more than decent replacement. Has to be said, he's had a great season so far. That, though, appears to have been, they appear to have, for now, slightly muted their interest. It's been claimed today by Kicker that Dortmund's interest is no longer there, certainly to sign him in the winter months. Who knows in terms of a summer move? But it would appear that, different German media outlets have differing opinions on whether Klostermann could be leaving over the next couple of weeks or so. But as of now, it appears that the German international will be staying put at Leipzig as they continue their push for a first Bundesliga title. Elsewhere, Jerome Boateng, of course, expected to be maybe perhaps the big story of the last couple of weeks of the window, unless something dramatic happens. Jerome Boateng, German international, just a legend of the German game, really. Been at Bayern Munich for years now, since returning from Manchester City many years ago. He is reportedly attracting interest from both Italy and the Premier League. It would appear, according to Sky Sports News Germany, that the German international defender is attracting interest from Arsenal. They appear to be leading the race for him, but also now AC Milan. They've recently signed a defender as well. But it would appear they also want to add additional reinforcements in the back line, and that Jerome Boateng appears to be the #1 target. So it could be an interesting duel. Could the competition to sign Jerome Boateng potentially mean that Bayern raise the price, that they get more money in for him? Will he stay put? Because as we know, Bayern Munich have a couple of injury problems as of now. So that could be an interesting one to keep an eye out for. Will Jerome Boateng leave? Sky Sports News reports that a transfer fee of around £12.5 million, perhaps a bit more, could be enough to potentially see Bayern part ways with Boateng, who again was highly reported to be interested in leaving the Allianz in the summertime. He stayed on, given the shortage of Bayern defenders that there are currently due to injuries. And so you really have to speculate, if they do let him go, will they sign a defender in turn? Will they manage it by playing Pavard, by playing Lucas Hernandez and so forth? That remains to be seen. But for now, it would appear there is a bit of a tug of war for Jerome Boateng. Elsewhere, Kicker are also reporting today that Lucas Toussaint, the Lyon midfielder, has been there for many years now, has had another good season in France, Toussaint. They're reporting that Hertha Berlin are also keen on signing the player. He's reportedly been the subject of interest from England too over recent years, but it would appear that, according to Kicker at least, Hertha have actually placed a bid in for Toussaint, the French international. It would be an interesting bid if it came true. The bid is reported to be in the region of €25 million. That's what's being speculated anyhow. So that's certainly one to keep an eye on. No word yet on whether it's been accepted or rejected, whether they want more. Certainly a hefty amount of money for Hertha to invest. So keen to bring in midfield reinforcements. So that could certainly be one to watch. And elsewhere too, Jean-Claire Todibo, another kind of long-standing transfer saga. Will he leave Barcelona? Will he leave on loan? Will he leave on a permanent basis? Well, it would appear that he's nearing a move to Schalke. This coming from a multitude of sources, but including Sport. They're now reporting that he's actually landed in Düsseldorf airport last night, that he's engaging in final stage talks with Schalke. But again, there's a bit of back and forth believed to be happening between the clubs as to whether it would be a loan deal or a permanent deal, whether it would be an 18-month loan or a year-long loan. So it would appear that they are nearing completion over some kind of deal there. But again, whether it's going to be a loan deal or a more permanent deal remains to be seen. Todibo, 20 years old, centre-back, signed from Toulouse this time last year. It'll be interesting to see if Barca do part ways with the youngster, because clearly he has a big future ahead of him. He has plenty of interest from around Europe. But as of now, we don't have the answer to that. So that's one to keep an eye on over the coming weeks too. That sums it up for today. That's just a bit of a sort of lowdown on what's happened so far, some of the developing stories. We'll have plenty more videos to come over the coming days, over the coming weeks. So I hope you can stay tuned, keep watching. Please give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Perhaps subscribe as well. Like I say, we'll have plenty more transfer content to come over the coming weeks. So thank you for watching. I've been Tom Fenton for Get German Football News, and I'll catch you in the next